the garden this morning with Archer. It has been a while since we have updated YouTube, so I figured I would just sit down and make a quick video about what has been going on lately. This is going to be a little bit more of a chit chat, maybe grab some coffee, and I'm just going to catch you guys up on what's been up, what our plans are moving forward here soon as we finish up the summer season.
And when we finish up the summer season, we have tons of flowers. My mommy does tons of zinnias.
Yeah, so we have been extremely busy with markets and
Selling our flowers.
And taking the time to learn.
Oh snap!
What? The gate should be closed.
Well, I hope it is. Call Dad.
I have been wanting to pop on and do a YouTube video. It's been something that has been on my mind a lot lately, but I have just had absolutely no motivation to get it done. It's hot, and I know everybody says that. If you are new to our channel, we are in the low country of South Carolina, and so right now we're dealing with upper 90s, heat indexes around 100, very humid, and sometimes just the last thing I want to do is set up this little tripod and sit outside and go through the garden, talk about the garden. It's just a lot sometimes. So
Tell them how much the flowers are.
okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So as much as I have wanted to come on and do a YouTube video, I just have not been very motivated to do that lately in the midst of everything else that we have had going on. Our farm stand is open again. If you don't follow us on social media, we were having some issues with theft, and we sort of just shut everything down for almost a month to figure out if the farm stand was something we wanted to continue investing our time and our energy into. We have since added, more signage with our pricing and sort of just come to the mindset of theft is a possibility. It's just, it is. We would like to believe that everyone is a good person, but sometimes that's just not how things pan out. So the farm stand is still open daily. Our hours online are 7 to 7. I'm keeping that stocked, and it's something I enjoy doing. So hopefully that continues to go well. As far as our markets go, we are currently a part of 4 local markets. We've got 2 monthly markets, and we have a farmer's market in Ridgeville that we're currently selling at, and we are selling at the Charleston City night market right now. The markets are going pretty well. I feel like everything is such a learning curve for me right now, and so I have been sharing on YouTube. I've been sharing on Facebook, and I've been sharing on Instagram, but I feel like a lot of YouTube that we were doing before was sort of sharing how we were, planting certain things or harvesting or preserving or what we were doing around the garden. And while I am still spending a lot of time in the garden, I feel like I have had to really focus my energy on learning about business, learning about these local markets. And at the end of the day, there's only so much time and so much energy, and so I've had to really sort of narrow down what I can focus my attention on. And, you know, with that, we are making some changes on our farm as well. If you follow our Instagram, then you saw that we sold 3 of the 4 lambs that we had born here this spring. And we are actually preparing to sell the remaining 5 sheep to a family who is starting a sheep dairy in Georgia. That would leave us with no sheep, which is, it's kind of sad. It's kind of disappointing. I feel like I've gotten to a place of acceptance. But again, the reasoning behind that is there's only so much time, so much energy, so much resources that can be invested in a day. And if our business is something that we want to be able to scale up, which it is, then we really need to be focusing our time and our money in that direction versus doing a little bit of 50 different things. Okay, you know, we do okay. Really try to narrow it in and do one thing really well. And so parting with our sheep will allow me to do that. Kevin still works full time, and so most of what is going on and what's being produced here at the farm is done by me. I don't have a crew of people. I don't have a part-time employee. I don't have a volunteer. It is just me. The boys are here and they love being a part of pretty much whatever I have going on. You know, if we're picking flowers or if I'm building bouquets or, you know, I'm milking, they love to be a part of those processes. But that is certainly not the same as having an adult employee or somebody else that you can delegate tasks to. So along, you know, that train of thought, I really have to be selective about what I'm investing my time and energy into. So in the morning time, for example, I could spend an hour milking, or I could spend an hour in this garden cutting the grass, weeding, getting seeds sown, harvesting. You don't want to harvest flowers in the heat of the middle of the day. And so those are the kind of decisions that I've really been thinking heavily on. In terms of finances, I could spend $200 or $300 a month on our feed, and I could, you know, produce a wonderful dairy product, which I love and Kevin's enjoying. The boys aren't really drinking a whole ton of milk, if I'm being completely honest. They love the butter, they enjoy the cheese, but making all of those things takes time. And so again, I'm trying to decide, okay, do I want to spend an evening making cheese and butter, or do I want to spend an evening making 20 bouquets? And it's tough because I like to dabble and I like to create, and it's not a lack of desire that has led me to make the decision about the sheep, but it's really an attempt, and it's really an attempt on my part to just be more focused and be more intentional so that we can take our business where we would really like to. So far this year, we've had lots of exciting opportunities to get our name out. We partnered with a local berry farm. If you're local, Hickory Bluff Berry Farm is amazing. The boys always love it when we go out there to pick berries and play and enjoy ourselves. So we had an opportunity to work with them a little earlier in the season. We are also hoping to get our flowers in some local shops and stores and things like that. And so those are the sorts of things that are going to require more time and energy on my part. and that's where I am choosing to focus my time and energy. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys a quick update. We still have the chickens, we still have the ducks. Cedar is here. We are considering scaling down our egg laying flock because, again, you know, when we first got out here and we started things, we were thinking, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna sell eggs, and we do sell some, you know, here and there, but we would like to keep enough to keep our family in eggs. We would like to keep enough chickens to, you know, share a dozen here or there, but I also don't want to have 5, 6, 7 dozen eggs at any given time, because again, I'm not taking the time to process those things if I'm out here in the garden. And the garden has always, the garden's always been our first true love as far as, you know, farming and homesteading and things like that. So it kind of feels like a full circle moment to just realize, like, hey, I enjoy, you know, I enjoy the animals, I enjoy producing food, but this is where I really need to focus my attention. This is where, you know, we're gonna build our business. So yeah, that's what's up with, you know, the poultry, the rest of the animals that are out here. We will probably have our sheep with us until the end of August. And I did tell you guys all 5 sheep were going. So the lamb that we were going to have butchered is actually, it's a long story, guys. The ram lamb sold and we ended up keeping a ewe lamb. So we were going to butcher a ewe lamb, but now she's going on to help this other family start up their sheep dairy. So we won't be butchering any. We're still milking. If you are at all interested in sheep, they are a great dairy option. I have thoroughly enjoyed having them here. Yeah, so I'm looking around the garden. There's not just a whole ton to show you guys. Let's see, we'll take a quick walk. All right, here is the greenhouse in July. It's like a jungle. I don't come in here. It's beyond the point of being like a sauna. It's ridiculously hot. So yeah, it's weedy, it's overgrown. It's like this every single summer. I come in the winter, chop everything down, and make this my little office throughout the winter. So right now it's not being used for anything. Okay, you guys saw this little patch right here when we had our meat birds on it, and I'll take a little walk around. Currently I'm growing some zinnias here. I need to come out and do a video while I'm harvesting, but that's sort of like my quiet time, and I enjoy it being my time, so I haven't pulled out the camera. But this is where we had the meat birds in the early spring, and I've got zinnias. Those sunflowers I've pretty much cut. They didn't do too great, but I could use them in small arrangements. So I had some sunflowers there. I pulled the amaranth. If you guys aren't following along on Instagram or Facebook, definitely hop over to one of those. That's where we post a lot of our photos of, you know, harvests and quick little snippets of what's going on around here. Things are updated on those platforms a lot more frequently than our YouTube, just because I don't have to, you know, go through and edit a video and all of that stuff to share there. But up front, we've got some basil. We've been using that as a filler in the bouquets. But this little plot did really well, is doing really well for us. It's producing wonderfully. And, you know, along the lines of expanding and scaling up, Kevin and I have plans to expand the garden next year. And maybe I'll show you guys a little bit of what we're thinking for that. This whole section over here where we have some seating that we don't really use too often. This is actually patio furniture from our old house. We've got a wood burning stove. All of these things are going to be moved closer to the new house over there. And so we're going to take this plot and expand it all the way over here, which is pretty much, if I had to guess, it's double the size of what we have going right now. So we'd like to get this whole area right here planted. And then we've also talked about filling in, some of these blank spaces, because we have the space to produce more. And so that's something that we're going to be focusing on through the fall and the spring, really getting some more growing space in here. So this bed of Rudbeckia right here, we would really extend this out all the way to where you see the end of that mulch line is right there, to this corner. And again, pretty much double the size of that bed. We don't mow grass often here, you guys. So it's high and weedy. But again, this little alleyway right here could be planted. We really just need enough space for walking through. So that is one of our goals. One of the things we're going to be working towards is really packing out this, it's almost 1/4 of an acre with more flowers. So we've got a tiller that we are borrowing long-term, and we're going to get some of this grass cut up right here. And again, same thing over here. We've got this big walking path, which is nice if you're not in production. Initially, this garden was not created for commercial production. It was created just for us to enjoy. But now that we're sort of steering things in a different direction, we have to think about what's going to be the most efficient, the most effective. It would be nice, we've got all of this space over here. Once the RV is gone, that's more space that can be planted, but it's not fenced off yet. And if you know anything about putting up fencing, it's not cheap. So while we could expand to those spaces, I think right now it makes more sense for us to really maximize what we've already got fenced off. And as you can see, there's still lots of bare space. So we're talking about planting this right here. This is another in-ground bed. Pulling up, there's some landscape fabric under this mulch that the Bermuda has gladly grown over. Pulling all of that up, doubling the size of this in-ground bed right here. And just making everything larger. I tried to start some wheat, some ornamental wheat in this bed, and I'm having a really tough time with grasshoppers, and the pest pressure is it's wild, y'all. It's hot, it's humid, and I was feeling like I had poor germination until I was realizing that really the seedlings are just getting chomped off as soon as they pop up. So that bed needs work. It's going to be expanded. This was another succession of sunflowers. The grass is it's wild. It's taken over. I'm thinking about tilling this row in completely, just because it's not worth it for a handful of flowers. So you kind of got to know when to call it. So this row was probably going to get tilled in today, but I've got other successions of sunflowers that seem to be doing a little bit better. So again, spotty, not great germination. The grass hasn't really taken over here, But again, this isn't as full as it should be. So let's see. I have started some sunflowers in raised beds, and the germination has been a lot better. So I've got further successions coming up in some of these raised beds. Here's some Gomphrena, and the ones that didn't do so hot in the ground, I will go ahead and cut those under. More sunflowers right here, and we've got some in a couple of other beds too. Got some zinnias coming up here. So right now my focus is planning for spring, actually. Got some zinnias in this bed. I've been ordering lots of seeds. I pretty much have all of my seeds already ordered for next year. I wanted to make sure I was able to get the things that I wanted. They weren't out of stock, because that's part of it. If you don't have the seeds, you can't plant them. So it was important to me to go ahead and make sure I had those on hand. This is some delphinium that is finishing up. There were also daffodils in this bed, and I've come through and I've put some zinnia seeds in here. As that delphinium dies back, the zinnias will take its place. A few dahlias. Let's see. Need to come back and pick that. Here's the black-eyed Susan patch. This is finishing up. I'm not sure if I will get a second flush out of this or not for the fall. I've been cutting it like crazy. It's been one of my favorites. It sort of wilts a little bit, but it hydrates well soon after. So there's that. Some eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is something we're going to be really focusing on this season. I would love a row of it. So if I don't put it in the ground, probably 3 or 4 beds of it. But this right here is first year eucalyptus. I started this this past winter. So we're gonna see if we can get this overwintered. I've been cutting from it just a little bit, not a whole ton. And that's Volunteer Red Spike. I feel like it's too dark to use in arrangements now. I would love to have some. Ooh, something's biting me. I would love to have some for fall, but I will probably just cut and dry that for right now. It's massive. And then some of our thistle plants right there. No flowers on them at the moment. See what else. This was supposed to be a short video, but of course not, right? Got some more amaranth coming in. Again, pest pressure is really high on this. I might save it for drying. I don't really use amaranth for the tassels. I mean, for the foliage. I use amaranth for the tassels. So this is Hot Biscuit. So it's gonna have an orange tassel on it. Another succession of zinnias. I'm loving this salmon color. It's been really nice to work with that. And I feel like pink is a fun one for summertime. Our celosia, I feel like, was a bit stunted. So I've been cutting from this here and there, using it in our jars that we take downtown to the city, but I haven't had long enough stems to use it in our wrapped arrangements. We've got some flamingo feather here, pink, we've been using that. Another, oh goodness y'all, Archer's garden. The grass, the Bermuda grass is, I mean, that's a part-time job right there. He does have okra though. He's been coming out and picking here and there. But we are trying to figure out scaling up and attending markets and events and still being here to manage all of the things that need to be managed. You know, it's hard to harvest the flowers when you're not here to harvest the flowers, or to cut and weed eat, and just all of the things that need to be done. There's lots more than just growing. Oops, don't want to get in the light. This is another Rudbeckia patch. Triloba is actually blooming right now. It looks like that's the last variety that we have, but I've got more seeds for this, and I'm super excited because I just started working with it, and I really love the airiness of it. So this is Triloba right here, and you get lots of little blooms versus a single stem with one bloom. More zinnias coming in here. I've just been constantly coming out, planting more seeds, and that's to help ensure that we always have flowers to harvest. Here's some more Rudbeckia. Prairie Sun was a fun variety. It bloomed second of the 3 varieties that I have, but it had really, really heavy pest pressure. So I ordered more of it, but not a ton, because it hasn't been as productive for me. Some more Triloba, these tall ones. All right, Coreopsis is pretty much finishing up. I think, well, I was going to say, I think I want to start this a bit later, but I have allowed this to go to seed, which is fine. But that just means I don't get to choose when I start it or when it's gonna be in bloom. So we'll come through, you can see there are seed pods on these. Let's see. So there's seeds in these little flower heads right here. We'll come through and we'll mow this down. That's the seed, that little black speck right there. We'll come through and we'll mow this down, and then we'll probably have Coreopsis forever. So I'm sure this little spot right here will be full of it again next year. All right, quick update on Sully's garden. He's got some watermelon plants in here. He's got a little tomato, a couple more tomato plants, but he hasn't been out here too often now that the peas are done. He's already asking when he can plant peas again. So we'll see. He might be interested once he gets a watermelon, because that's another one of his favorites. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the quick update. It actually wasn't that quick. I am going to go make some bouquets for our farm stand, and we will catch you guys up again sometime soon. I know it's not as frequent as it once was, but hopefully you guys can just bear with us through this season, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, bye.